Hi, everybody. How are you all today? Hope you're having a great day. My name is Brittany, and I will be your studio host today from Etcher. Today, we are joined by the lovely Rozenn, or Rosa, I should say, because she is French. Just a couple things before we get started. If you are new to these, welcome. Thank you for coming. And if you're a frequent flyer, thank you again for coming. We're so happy to have you back. If you are new, that means you might not know how a few things of the chat works, and that's totally okay. If you have a question, just please type it in all capital letters so I can defer it a little bit easier from just a comment or just a chit chat thing going on. And I'll save most of the questions for the Q&A session that we do at the end. We'll stop about 5 or 10 minutes early, depending on how many questions we get and depending on how far along we are in the process. So yeah, if I don't get to your question right away, don't worry about it. I will probably ask it during the Q&A. Without further ado, I will be dropping a couple of things into the chat, such as her mini workshop coming up with us, and that is an 1.5-hour class where she'll be just going into a little bit more detail of what she is doing today. So I'll stop talking and I'll let Rosa take over.
Okay. So this is just a bit of sketch I did for research for the bird I'm going to paint today. I think, Brittany, you have the picture I sent you with...
Yeah, I have the reference image. If anybody didn't get it in the description, I can just put it in the chat right now.
Okay. Yeah, let's just start.
We just got asked a question. Can we ask questions in French to Rozenn if we speak French? I mean, you can. She doesn't see the chat. I communicate the chat to her. I speak a little bit of French, so I can try my best to read the question. But if I butcher it, I apologize. So what are you starting out here? Do you want to just make your pencil lines a little bit darker because I can't really see them?
I will.
Thank you. So I'm seeing people here from Virginia, from Ontario, Scotland. Where's everybody from? If you haven't let us know yet, let us know in the chat. Rozenn, where are you from?
I'm from France.
What part of France?
Oh, near Lyon, so it's south of France, southeast.
Oh, cool. So these birds are from that area, right?
No, I don't have them, but I was started with a robin, and I just saw them and completely fell in love and was, okay, I need to draw them. It's usually what happens when I'm on Pinterest. I have an idea and I end up doing something else because there's so many good pictures.
Yeah.
What to choose?
I have a lot of robins here where I live in Ontario, and they're so pretty.
Yay. Maybe I will do it. Do one if I have time before the end. Love them.
Maybe. So you're drawing which type of bird again? I forgot the name of it, sorry.
In French, it's a bouvreuil pivoine, but the English, I'm not so sure about the name.
If we have any bird enthusiasts who might know that translation from French to English and they want to put it in the chat, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, let's start. Lots of water. I have to say, this is the second time I'm painting on this sketchbook. This is a sketchbook from Nature. I was quite surprised about the quality. I don't tend to like watercolor papers, strangely.
Oh, really? You like it?
Yeah. And usually I don't paint on watercolor papers. I think they drink too much of the water.
Oh, yeah. What do you normally use?
I have this paper, which is simile Japon. So it's quite, it's close to a Japanese paper. Okay. Very smooth. This is the smoothest paper I own. Mm-hmm. And another that is made for pastel.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, I think I have water everywhere. Okay. Let's go. Oh.
Wow, that's a very pretty color.
It's a vermilion. It's quite a basic red, but I like the orange tone.
Yeah. So people are saying that it's a bullfinch.
Oh yeah, English. Bullfinch.
Peony bullfinch. And just to double check, you wet the entire drawing, right? Somebody is just wondering here.
Yeah, so there is water up to all the borders. It's to avoid the corners that the watercolor can do.
Yeah.
It will just smooth everything together.
Mm-hmm.
And while we wait for this one to dry and do its own magic, and I will draw the other one. I like the little black hats this one have. So cute. And for those learning to draw bird, try to have birds with a lot of facial mark. It's really helpful to draw them, to have the good shape of the head.
So having a lot of facial marks makes it easier to draw? Yeah,
like for tits, because you can just follow the marking, and it will help to have not so round head. The head of a bird is quite long.
Yeah.
Way longer than we tend to draw them naturally.
Oh, I see. That's a good tip. Do you have any other ways that you go about doing proportion for birds?
I do, but one of the best advice I had to draw birds is to try, and this is what I did there, and to do a lot of sketch, but with pen, not pencil. So to avoid the possibility to erase.
Oh, okay. To force
for that, you can see it. For example, this line, I shouldn't have drawn it. It was a mistake. This one is the good one. And with all of this tiny mistake here, the head was too small at first. I did another take. And your brain is going to learn from that, to learn from your mistake. And the more you draw like that, the more you're going to fix your own mistake.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Good. I don't have my picture anymore. Okay, good. And for birds, trying at the beginning not to draw the little feathers, just big area. So for now, I have the big gray shoulder pad.
Do you always tend to draw the head first?
Not always, but when I have this marking on the head, this black marking, it's quite easy to start with the head. And then you have to remember that the body is quite big. It's a fat bird, ready for winter. This little fat bird.
Saving some good questions here for the Q&A. So if you're wondering if I haven't gotten to your question yet, I'm just saving it for the Q&A. A lot of people are saying they love to paint birds as well. Do you find this is a subject that you often paint?
I do, and I love to observe them when I'm outside. I tend to try to observe and recognize all the birds I encounter. I tend to get quite distracted when I drive. Like, oh, there is a bird. Shit the road. Need to concentrate. That should be good. The first drop of painting, always the hardest. Okay, let's go. Woohoo.
Yeah, it can be a little intimidating.
Always. Like, what is going to happen this time?
Curious if anybody else feels this way watching this live demo. Do you guys feel really intimidated putting down the first drop of paint after doing your wash? I guess that just comes with practice, getting more comfortable with it.
I think you just drop it like, yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that a purple tone?
It's dark from Waterman. I can't try it more.
Okay.
And
yeah.
This black is quite blue on the tone, so yeah, it gives this purple. And for those who know my work, I tend to use that ink a lot.
Mm-hmm. Reading some of your comments here on the question I asked you guys earlier, if you also get intimidated dropping in that first bit of color. Interesting, some of these answers. Does Rozenn ever bother with the pencil lines? Because I'm mostly so stressed about it. Do you tend to erase your pencil lines before you start, or just as you did now, you just go in with water?
I tend to go in with water, but my lines are never this dark.
Right. Yeah, that's just for the demo.
Yeah, it's just for the demo. Usually, I don't think you can see it there, but there is a line that I never erased. It's just so. Yeah, it's very light, so I don't have that trouble.
Just a hint of the line.
Yeah, if I zoom, you can see how strong it is.
Yeah.
And I think the texture of the watercolor paper does that impression of having a stronger line.
Mm-hmm.
If I do here and on a sketchbook that is quite smooth in comparison. Ooh, So yeah, I put it in the water. Everything is fine. You don't have the same, we can't see a thing, can we?
We can't see it. If you can move it over a little bit.
Yes. I will. Where are you? Okay.
Oh, I see the difference. Yeah.
It's quite small because yes, this paper is not the best either, but yeah, you have, it's easier with a smooth paper to have a line that is smooth as well.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that thing going on here. I'm going to let it dry and just mess with the other one.
Yeah, for sure.
What we can do.
It looks interesting.
But I really love to have. When I work my first layer, I tend to have then a few hours just to let it dry and come back to it later. Mm-hmm. For live demo, I don't have that chance. I will have to go.
Yeah, you don't have that luxury. I apologize. So your mini workshop is coming up on the 25th of June with us. You're going to be doing some birds as well. And you're going to go into a lot more detail about what you'll be doing with us. Do you want to give us a little sample?
Yeah, I'd like to have to draw an owl with a lot of much more details and showing a bit of my technique with Bleach, which I use quite a lot. Mm-hmm. And if you have seen my my latest project with the tarot, you can see it as well. And the Bleach, it will it helped me to have. I have an owl here to have those little those little lights there that don't are here on the first layer, and I just draw them after. Mm-hmm. And same for the snake. I think it's the best image I have. All the light tones are done with Bleach.
That's really cool.
And it's a different approach than gouache.
Yeah,
it's not the same. Oops, I forgot I was painting something.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's black. Nobody will know. You have to. This is what is funny with watercolors.
It's very time sensitive. Do you ever use a hair dryer to dry it quickly?
Almost never, because the hair dryer, it's going to push the color on a certain direction, and some of the things that I have here, I will lose it almost instantly. So I tend to like letting it dry naturally.
So when you say you paint with Bleach, a couple people just have questions because they've never heard of that kind of technique. You just use regular house bleach and you water it down a little bit?
Yeah, I'm going to show you in just a moment when I have finished with the black. So yeah, it's a very classic bleach. I just put it on a little container for my own use. It's easier, and it will react to various inks. To watercolors, it will not react. So I tend also to play with that with the Colorex that I have, the brand Colorex, and the Waterman. It reacts quite a lot, and oh, I forgot that I had the pencil you gifted me.
Oh,
it's synthetic, so I can use that for bleach. Do not ever use a natural brush with bleach.
Yeah,
I appreciate. Okay.
Couple people wondering in the chat, what is your Instagram? They want to see some of your other work.
So it's Rozenn Illustration on Instagram. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, I'll grab a link of it and I'll put it in the chat. So you're adding the bleach now?
Yeah. The red does not react that much. I'm surprised. Let's just do it on the dark. Or maybe it does react only with certain paper. I don't know. Okay.
It might react different on different types of paper, you're right.
Yeah, it's starting to react here. We can see it. I still have this one. We can. Okay, it react. I just need a little help. Quite a bit. Okay, come on, leave.
So if you use watercolor, would you get the same reaction with the bleach or does it only work with ink?
It only works with ink.
Okay.
Okay, this one is almost dry. You can start again.
We're about halfway through the live demo, just letting you know.
Okay.
Would you say it's a fairly light wash of ink that you're adding right now?
Of gray?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a strong one. Although I learned from school that you have to not be afraid of the color you put. It will always light with while drying, and it's will always get more interesting stuff with a lot of pigment, a lot of colors. I have one teacher who told me one day to just mess my drawing voluntarily. And I think it was one of the best I did because I was just putting colors everywhere.
Yeah. Sometimes you can get something really interesting that way.
Yeah.
So like watercolor, when it dries, it usually gets a lot lighter. Does ink do the same thing?
Yes, but it's not that much.
Okay.
It's not as light as watercolor. And one thing, the biggest difference between the two is the watercolor is going to be less saturated than the color you have when it's not dry. The ink will stay almost always vibrant. Which is why I tend to use more and more ink than watercolors.
Yeah, it's becoming more of your go-to medium.
Yeah, definitely. And it tends to spread in the water more intensely than the watercolor.
So, meaning that you usually have to use less ink because it takes less pigment.
It's more the wait. I'm going to end this thing because I'm going to mess that watercolor.
It's hard to work and talk at the same time sometimes when you really have to concentrate.
Yeah. Okay, this thing is done. What were we talking about? Watercolor, inks.
The difference between like watercolor and ink, and
oh yeah, when you have watercolor and you want to like the thing I did here to have another layer, the ink is almost instantly going to react with the water you put. If I have this here, I'm just I can mess with it.
Oh, you can reactivate it whenever.
Yeah. So if you put water on it, almost instantly the pigment is going to fuse with the water. Oh. So it's very difficult when you want to add a layer of color there. You're just going to touch the dark and it's going to go right here.
Right, yeah.
I think you can say it just becomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and with watercolor, you have to walk the pigment for it to come again. Mm-hmm. So you have it's more easy to do layers. With inks, it's a mess.
Yeah.
I choose that. I choose the mess. I should show you too on the dark. How it can definitely come. Here on the where I put paper, I put water. I'm going to there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No more pigment.
And that's been a dry painting for a long time. So yeah, you can reactivate it.
Yeah. So when you have when you want to put a new light on it, it's super easy.
Yeah.
And it gives a very nice a very nice color. There is no delimitation. It's very interesting to work that way. It has its benefit and its and benefit. And it was the vocabulary. It's up and downs.
Yeah, there you go.
It's slow to dry, but it's drying. I wonder if I can take the pigment away. I think this paper is way more stable for the ink.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Oh, glad you enjoy it. If anybody is wondering where you can get one of these sketchbooks, I'm going to put a link in the chat if you guys want to check them out. So the orange ink is also fugitive. Is that what you're wondering, Teresa?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's also fugitive. Fugitive? I don't know if I'm saying that right.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who doesn't know.
You're not, don't worry. I'm going to post in the chat a link for her mini workshop coming up on June 25th that I mentioned earlier. She's going to be showing us more birds, and she'll actually be explaining her process instead of just demoing it for you guys. She'll go into a lot more detail of how to do things, and you can ask a lot more questions. It's a lot of fun. If you can't make it to the mini workshop date, the recording will also be available at some point to purchase. I believe usually the week or so after the initial workshop date. You can always check that out and purchase it if you can't make the actual day. And don't forget to share this link with your friends. This video will be posted on our channel later. Make sure to share it with any of your art friends if you think they'll enjoy it. Maybe they'll want to sign up for her mini workshop as well. So we have about 20 minutes left in the session, and in about 10 or so minutes, I'll start asking you some questions I saved from the chat, if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah, completely.
Got a lot of really good questions saved here, so I thank you all.
Okay.
Are you going to be ready for these? I
will.
Just got a question here. Someone's wondering if you paint the eyes as well, or do you just tend to leave those more of a silhouette look?
It depends. I tend to do little black point when the eye is visible. Oh, here's a perfect example for the head mark when you draw. This bird is good. And when it's dark, I tend to just let it in a silhouette.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Great it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good.
Do you often paint in small sizes, or do you do big works ever?
Almost always in small sizes. And this is quite a big size for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't, yeah, you can see just the difference of size. I tend to use this size more.
You like your little details.
Yeah, I do. And then I have to draw like 10 centimeters on top of my drawing.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I get super close to my page.
So I did a big sketch with a dark line, and I still can see in the wings. Where is my sketch? I've lost it. I'm painting blind.
I'm sure you'll do okay. You paint so many birds. You know the proportions off by heart, probably.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah, okay, it should be that. If not, yeah, could be fine.
It'll still look like a bird, I'm sure.
You're nice.
So I just put into the chat a little link to a Facebook group that's exclusive to people who watch our live demos and are part of our mini workshops. It's just a bunch of like-minded people who are into art, and they sometimes share their art on there. Or, you know, sometimes you're working on a piece and you're stuck and you need some advice. It's a great place to do something like that. If you want more artistic friends, that's also a great community just to join and chit chat. So make sure to check that out if that's something that you're interested in. Can you mix ink and watercolor in one painting?
Yeah, I tend to do that quite a lot when I have a character with motifs, with pattern. Pattern is the name. Because you can mix, you can draw the pattern in watercolors, and then you can wash over it. It's not going to blur. It's going to stay right there. Yeah. And it's nice to mix the two properties. And when you can just have mix a lot of techniques, wash also. I tend to not use acrylics that much because it's it will not react to water ever after, and I do like my inks to react.
Yeah, once it dries, it's pretty much
dry. That's it.
Yeah.
So we're not friends.
You're not friends with acrylic.
No. I had to do an oil painting once. It was awful.
Oh, really? You didn't enjoy it?
Yeah.
Curious if anybody else tends to mix up the mediums that they use. Personally, I use all kinds of different mediums all the time. I do watercolor, I do acrylic, I do scratchboard, if anybody's heard of that. Curious what you guys tend to use.
It is not what I wanted. Okay.
So you're going in with Bleach right now, right? Are you using Bleach right now?
Yes. Just to put a bit more light on the beak, and it a bit dark. And I think a little light there. Nice. And yeah, I tend to stop the action of the bleach with my paper, because if not, it's going to go until it's white. You have no control.
So if you just dab it, it'll stop reacting?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good to know.
It will stop the excess. And I tend to dab also. How did you say the action of that? Yeah, I tend to do that with water too, to not have the when water dry, you have that lot of pigment around your. It will react and do something like that on your painting if you let it dry naturally. Where are you?
Oh, yeah, like a bloom or a
border that is very strong. It's a drop that's dried naturally.
Yeah,
and I want to avoid that, so I take off the excess of pigments.
Yeah, sometimes there's so many different names for that when that happens. I've heard bloom, I've heard flower, I've heard cauliflower, I've heard a bunch of different words. What do you call it in French?
I have no idea. In Dutch, that we don't have a specific name for that kind of drop. I just realized that my bird does not have feet. And I have to do it right now before the end.
We still got some time, so don't worry. Yeah, there's about 10 minutes left in the demo. If we need a couple minutes more, we totally can use up a little bit more. Because I definitely want to see the finished result of these birds and get to the questions.
Okay.
Do you mind if I just start asking you some of the questions while you finish up?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, cool. So I saved a lot of these questions from the beginning. If I missed anybody's question or you have a new one, I would type it in the chat now. So what advice do you have for drawing the bird in proportions, in proper proportion?
Well, again, to draw a lot of sketching with observation, do can I have this? Do not be afraid of the proportion of the bird. This head is quite very small in comparison of the body. If I have this one, and this is the head, you have something like this big for the body. It's almost that.
So almost like triple the size.
Yeah. So that if when you see a bird and wait, keep up, have my reference picture there. To try and see the shape, and this is why when you have a small bird like this, there's not a lot of shape, but to have this shape for the head, and then you have the, how do you say, the jaw? The jaw of a bird that is always big. Bird. Big body. So yeah, just watch at all the little shape and try to draw in shapes more than this is a wing, this is a head.
Right, yeah. Just look for easy identifiable shapes.
Yeah. to start. And this is what I did there. It's if you can start your drawing on a sketchbook that is not a finished painting, to try and do a lot of straight line when you sketch.
Right.
It will help a lot to have the dynamics. Like,
right. Yeah. Thank you for that. That was a great answer.
No painting on this. Stop. I love to sketch. People know me for my painting, but I love to sketch.
Do you do a lot of that when, like, plein air sketching?
Not that much.
Well, I guess not.
When I can, I have a park that is all birds. I can stay all day from open hours to the end and draw birds all day long.
Oh wow, that's nice.
But painting birds in a plein air, they are moving a lot, so it's quite super hard. You have to take pictures, to draw from pictures.
Yeah,
way easier. And if you can, just find a museum where there's I don't know the name, but when there's dead birds that are just
like stuffed birds, like taxidermy.
Taxidermy, yes. Yeah. If you have a museum with taxidermy birds, animals, it's a place where you will learn the best, because you have the 3D and the animal will not move ever.
Yeah. So speaking of your sketches, what kind of pencil do you use mainly?
I use almost only this one now. It's a polychromo. Yep.
Okay, so it's a colored pencil.
Yes. I think it's
Faber-Castell, polychromo. Yep.
From Faber-Castell. And I tend to like the texture of it. It's not a very expensive one, and I have like 10.
Oh, okay, yeah. And it's still fairly easy to erase, even though it's a color pencil.
Yeah, completely. I have this one there. On this, okay. Everything is moving if I try to erase, but you can erase it quite well.
I can see it.
On this paper, not so much, but on a sketchbook paper, yes.
Which paper do you feel is the best for the bleach technique that you like to do?
This one was very responsive to the bleach. I can definitely do it on it. I did water, I did not bleach.
But which paper do you regularly use for the bleach technique?
Do I regularly?
Which one do you use all the time?
This one I use a lot for my latest project, and then the pastel paper, which is this one.
What was the brand of it?
It's Canson.
Canson?
Yes, Canson.
Good to know. Good to know. We got a couple people asking about what type of papers that you like to use. Also, what is the name of the Japanese paper, or was that also the pastel one?
No, this. Look at how gold it's going to become.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Big reaction.
Different papers, you get different reactions.
Exactly. It's exactly the same I did here. And here I had almost no reaction. Like, come on, guys.
So you have to like
become gold.
You have to experiment with different ones and see which one you like best. It's personal preference.
I tend to have a whole lot of different paper and just mess around with it to see how it will react. So it reacts quite, we can't see it from far away, but yeah, it does react. It will just not have the same texture at the end.
Yeah, you're right.
It's softer. What was it? Paper texture. So yeah, this pastel MBM from Canson is one I tend to use the most.
Mm-hmm.
I discovered this paper last year during COVID, and I used only this paper for the magpie ornament project I did.
Oh, okay.
I wanted a change. I changed paper. It's definitely smoother in texture.
Yeah.
That's like,
you always use hot press?
Yes. I think. Is it?
The sketchbook you're using now with Etcher is definitely a hot pressed one.
Okay.
So we got this interesting question. I would love to know your answer. What is the strangest thing you have added to your watercolor or ink to achieve certain effects?
Bleach might be it. I know a lot of people use salts or even bicarbonate. I never tried. Salt, I tried and it never reacted the way I wanted. I cannot use salt.
Sodium bicarbonate. So people have used that as well. It's like baking soda, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
that's interesting. I haven't tried that. I would love to know what that looks like. I gotta try that.
Yeah, it's a friend who did not have bleach at their home, and they just tried bicarbonate.
And it worked?
And apparently it works a bit like bleach.
Oh, interesting.
But I haven't tasted it myself, so
yeah,
I cannot be sure.
Huh. So we just have a couple minutes left. I'm just going to get to a couple more questions. That is so cute, those birds. Let's see here. I'm looking down my questions. That one. Does Rozenn use ox gall synthetic ox gall with the watercolors for them to spread further, or is it just water? I think it was just water you used. You didn't add anything else.
No,
right?
I just have water.
Yeah. Another little question for Rozenn. Actually, when she does watercolor, it probably takes a lot of time in her day because she needs to wait for the watercolor to dry. Does she do other things next? Do you mean like, does she do multiple drawings at once?
Which is a yes, I tend to do that.
Yeah.
That's why I have my paper on a wood planche. Then I just move it like, okay, this thing needs to dry a bit.
Oh yeah, that's smart. I've heard of a lot of watercolorists doing that just because, they tend to work on things before they're done drying, or, oh, your camera just randomly switched orientation. That's okay though, because we're pretty much done now. It's 1 o'clock now, so I guess that was good timing.
Okay, thank you, phone.
Phone just likes to have a mind of its own. Thank you everybody for joining. Again, my name was Brittany, and we had the lovely Rozenn with us. I'm gonna drop a little link in the chat again for the survey. If you are familiar with these live demos, then you probably know about these surveys. They take less than 2 minutes to fill out. They're a multiple choice little survey, and then there's a comment section at the bottom. You don't have to fill out the comment section, but feel free, if you have any, things that you want to see from us in the future, things that you might have really enjoyed, things that maybe we could have worked on, or, if you just want to tell us how great Rozenn did the whole time and don't change anything. She's such a fabulous teacher. You can put that in there too. You can also put that. We'll be totally okay with nothing but positive things. But, if you do have some constructive criticism, we'll accept that as well. That's always good to hear. We love anything constructive. So I'm going to put, again, her mini workshop details in the chat. If you didn't get a chance to check them out earlier, they're just down there. It is on June 25th. and it is an hour and a half long. I'm not sure the exact time of the demo, so you'll just have to go check out the details to find out more. All the materials, anything else you need to know is all on that link. So don't forget to check that out. If you by chance can't make that day and you really want to learn from her workshop, don't worry. We'll post the recording and that will be available for purchase as well. Or you can just buy it, pre-buy it, and then whenever the workshop gets posted, you'll get an email with it sent, excuse me, sent to you. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thanks, Rozenn. You did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say to the folks before we head out?
I hope I will see you at my workshop to do more bleach and more fun watercolors and things.
Yeah. Are you going to be doing watercolor in the mini workshop or ink again?
I did say watercolor, but I will use mostly this ink I use a lot, which reacts a lot to bleach, becomes gold and everything, and we just play with that. Sounds
fun. I'm not sure if I'll be the host, but I hope I am because I'm really curious about more of these techniques. Thank you everybody for joining. I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to fill out that little survey. It, like I said, takes less than 2 minutes and it really helps us out. Yeah, everybody have a great day. Bye.
Bye.